Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. First thing off top, I'm thankful to be alive. I'm thankful to be out of the hospital because let's backtrack. I was gonna go last Sunday on Sunday the 13th. I was gonna go to Kroger's to get some snacks for the big Raider game against the Colts. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, gotta have some snacks. It's a big game. You know, our season's on the line. Our last chance at relevance slash the trek to the Super Bowl, right? So I get in my car, get my snacks, and because I'm driving a manual, so I'm shifting gears. I'll never forget it. I felt like I was cold trickle. And I'm in the third gear, and all of a sudden the road's about to bend, and I get a cramp as soon as I shift into third gear. And I look down, and I'm like, ah. And in that split second, all it took was because the road kept turning, bending. I kept going straight. I jumped the curb, end up slamming on the brakes, and end up hitting a tree, smack dead in the center. Right. Thankfully, didn't have concussion. All I suffered was a slight fracture in my femur, a dislocated and fractured right hip, and that's in a couple scratches from the windshield and such. But other than that, it was a blessing that's it. Because when they took me to the hospital, there were two other people who were in an accident around the same time as I was, and they were in way worse condition than I was. So I was really thankful that I only had those injuries, even though they're not minor. But I only had those injuries. So anyway, I got my handy dandy crutches for the next 6 to 8 weeks. But I'm thankful to be alive. And it was an interesting thing because I've been in the hospital for almost 9, 10 days because I had to have surgery and such. But it's interesting because you get to see how much of your life is dictated toward social media and a cell phone. Because when I got out of the car, I left my phone in the car and I got into the ambulance because they told me I had a dislocated hip, and they said you gotta go to the hospital. And I was like, all right. And I was thinking, I was like, dang, that sounds pretty serious. And I didn't think to go back and get my phone. So anyway, I'm in the hospital, and it's I can't contact anybody. And I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, how many numbers can I really remember off the top of my head? And I tell you, things have changed since I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, I could memorize numbers, but since smartphones came around, I can't remember anything. But thankfully, I was able to remember two numbers: my mom's number and my brother's number, and one of my friends' numbers. So when I finally got access to a phone, I try to get in contact with them, let them know what happens, and they're thankful I'm alive and everything. But here's the thing that tripped me out, because I was so excited about the Raider game. I was like, nobody told me anything about the Colts game. And I'm thinking to myself, no, it's all good. It's all good. Lisa was a good weekend for the Raiders, and I still got my life and everything. Nobody said a word. Nobody said a word to me, right? And I'm just holding on to all the little silver linings and everything, because by this time it's Monday morning, and I realized that I have to have surgery. And it's the first time I ever had surgery. That's a whole different story in itself. But the surgery turned out well. Thank you to the Emory staff and the Grady staff, specifically the surgeons at the Grady hospital, because they did a marvelous job. Um, but anyway, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, all right, gotta have surgery, but at least I got my life, at least I got my faculties upstairs, and the Raiders didn't lose to the Colts, right? So it's all good. It's all good. It's not until either Tuesday or Wednesday. No, it was Wednesday when I had to have my surgery that I realized. I asked somebody, so how good was the game? Because I don't have access to my phone, so I don't have any way of checking the scores of the game. And the TV was I didn't have At the time, I didn't know where the remote was to change it to the sports channel. So I was only stuck watching Martin reruns for like the first 3 days. And I'm sitting here. It wasn't until like uh, I was talking to my mom, and I was like, so you know, I'm like, so how'd the game? Talk to me about the game. Like, cause that by this time I'm kind of getting used to the pain. I'm like, hey, how's the game? And my mom said, you lost. And I was like, and I started laughing. I'm like, no, we didn't lose. Not to Jeff Saturday. No, not to Jeff Saturday and the Colts and Matt Ryan. No. And she started saying, yeah, you guys lost. I didn't have the heart to tell you. Um, when I finally got in contact with you, we wanted to just wanted to save it for you. And I was like, how do we lose to the Colts? The Colts. And I keep and it's in that moment I realized that our season's over with. Josh McDaniels should be fired. The whole staff should be fired. Management should be fired. Mark Davis should sell the team, right? I'm thinking that the whole weekend, especially after surgery, especially when the pain meds start wearing off. Like, I'm thinking everybody, this whole thing's got to be blown up. This whole thing has got to be blown up. Like, how do you lose? How do you lose to the Colts? And you know what's sad? I've been home for 2 days now, and I still haven't had the heart to look up the highlights of that game because one of my friends, now that I got my phone back, I'm getting all the messages, and my friend said it was a debacle because Matt Ryan apparently had a 30 or 39-yard scramble, like by himself. Like, there was no envoy blocking for him. It was just him. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not possible. This is Matt Ryan. How is he giving us a business on with his legs? And that's when I realized, like, season's over. We got to blow up everything, in terms of coaching and management and ownership, because this is a joke, right? I'm in full despair, and I'm still slightly in despair. But I finally get home. We get released from the hospital. Thankful to be home, and all of a sudden I make it in time just to see the end of the Bronco game, and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, we're not gonna we got to go to overtime to beat to go to the because at this time I didn't know the Broncos were gonna lose or we were gonna win. At that point, like, we got to go to overtime now, not overtime for the Broncos, and I'm just in disbelief. And my TV's on delay, so I'm just sitting here getting updates on my phone now. Because by this time I actually have access to my phone now, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, no, let me turn off my notifications. I'm looking at the delayed TV, and I'm just like, if we lose this game, I don't even know what I'm gonna do because I'm gonna be on my back for the next 6 to 8 weeks, right? Because I can't put weight in my hip until 6 to 8 weeks, and I'm like, I can't do this if we lose to the Colts and we lose to the Broncos in back-to-back weeks. I mean, we can't do this. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, thank God for Devontae Adams, because even though our season has been abysmal, this man and Derek Carr have been on point for most of the year. Like, they have had explosive play after explosive play after explosive play, and it really is a game of inches because the Denver defensive lineman was right there, and if he was just an inch faster or an inch closer, that's probably a deflected pass or a sack or a fumble or whatever. But it wasn't. And man, good old Devontae Adams went to work. I mean, the route that he put on Sertan, that was special. That was pretty. So even though we beat the Broncos, which we should have beaten the Broncos, I'm still hot that we lost. I'm still hot that we're not going to the Super Bowl. I'm still hot that it took me until Wednesday to find out that we actually lost to the Colts. And I'm hot that I got to actually spend the next 6 to 8 weeks thinking about how this season has been just a walkthrough for everybody but us. But there are things to be thankful for. I got my life. I get to see my family for the first time around the holidays for the first time and since 2018. So that's pretty good. Um, you know, I get to see some football today on Thanksgiving. I get to contemplate who's going to be the coach next year for the Raiders. Who's going to be the new general manager for the Raiders? Like, so that's good as well. Who's going to be the new owner for the Raiders? That's going to always be nice. And I also get to spend time, like my mom said, off top. Like I get to spend these next 6 to 8 weeks finishing my script. So that's going to be something I'm really looking forward to because now I have I feel fully devoted time to finishing my creative work. So I'm really excited for that. So sorry I hadn't been on. It's a lot's happened to me, but I'm back. I'm in great spirits, as should you guys. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys and Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. And, I can't say Super Bowl we out here because that would just be lying at this point. I, I guess we're just we're in full season ruining mode of other teams. Yeah, we're gonna be ruining other people's seasons. Yeah, I guess that's all we got left. So yeah, we about to be the most dangerous non-playoff team in these streets. Be prepared. Yeah, next year we coming back with full vengeance though. We're gonna put the whole league on notice this year, but next year it's actually gonna come to fruition. Yeah. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving.